Hello everyone. Do you know what direction your life is going? Well, guess what? It's going to turn around and go in a different direction because Mangala is having a tremendous impact on world affairs and on everybody's life as he completes this amazingly long transit in Cancer. Just look, it starts on October 21st, 24, but doesn't finish until June the 6th, 25. What's happening? He turns retrograde, goes back into Gemini, and comes back again into Cancer. So all the details are here. This is world changing and everybody's going to have to retrace some steps to get it right. It's a big moment. So if you're new to my channel, don't forget to sub below. And if the video is good and helpful for you, of course, give it a thumbs up. Thank you. Let's go. Give you all the key dates and then we're going to go into the astrology. Mars turns retrograde on the 7th of December 2024. And in that way, he goes backwards, back again into the sign of Gemini, right up until April the 2nd. Goes into direct motion on the 24th of February 25, enters back into the sign of Cancer again and completes a transit between the 3rd of April and the 6th of June 25. Well, it's quite a transit, everybody. Let's talk about the astrology. Mars enters Cancer alone. Oh, thank goodness. To begin with, on October 21st, 2024, he's in a debilitated state. Is this good for Mars? Well, sometimes Mangala Cancer can even get peaceful, although he gets mightily agitated, but not this time. Why not? Because he's going so slowly. And when he turns retrograde, as we're going to see, he will no longer act debilitated. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Let's begin then. So Mars enters into the sign of Cancer. As I say, he's debilitated and he's going very, very slowly. So he's going to feel some stalemate situation in regard to his purpose. Everybody will feel this slowing down, feeling of doubt creeping in wherever Cancer is in your chart. And there'll be many clashes with authority figures. Mars is full-on aspecting here to the Sun. Mercury, business changes, everything. People want to do something, move and shake things. Mars is in Cancer sign. Cancer is about populace, the moon. This is all very well. This is temporary. The big problem here, everybody, is that Mangala's 8th aspect is going right across to Saturn. Transit begins with a feeling of frustration then, like you're a little bit stuck now. You've got to go backwards, but you didn't really want to go backwards, so you feel angry. But here's the thing, Rahu is involved as well, and this is the danger. Rahu has his full 5th drishti onto Mangala during this transit, and he will tempt some people to precipitous action, doing something out of the box, something different, even tempt you to do something unethical. Be careful, stay firm, because it's a long-term transit. Let's see how it's going to pan out for you. Don't get yourself into a fix right at the beginning, is my definite advice. Amid all the pressure, of course, on the 7th of December, Mars turns retrograde. Now, here's the thing, everybody. Retrograde Mars is twice as strong, even 4 times as strong, because actually he won't feel debilitated anymore when he goes retrograde. Here's the thing. You should know retrograde planets feel like they are in the opposite sign. What is the opposite sign? It's Capricorn, Makra. Mars is exaltation. This is the secret. Mangala going retrograde in Cancer won't feel debilitated. He won't feel over-emotional anymore. He will be terribly focused, terribly, let's say, magnetically determined to accomplish, to attack, to do something. He will be very hard to control. He will feel exalted as he goes backwards in the sign of Cancer. Depending how Mars is actually working for you, you're going to feel this real surge of energy. You will feel focused now. You will feel determined. You will feel almost manic. Some people get a real manic energy from this Mars retrograde. Watch out for that. But watch your steps carefully, because very soon he's going to change signs. And this is where, well, talk about Mars on steroids. We're going to find this effect, definitely. Of course, it's a big effect. World affairs, definitely. Completing something that was going on around September, October. in a very big way, which I will speak about in a minute. But for everybody, what's happening when Mars is back again, he's come back this way, when he's back from Cancer into Gemini, you're going to find things unraveling that you thought you'd finished, that you thought you'd sorted around the autumn time when he was last there. And because Mangala here, of course, now has his full drishti onto Ketu, this can get quite extreme. It means that something which you thought you'd sorted, something from the past which you'd absolutely left behind, wherever Mars is in your life, wherever Ketu is in your chart, of course, it'll be different for everybody. That thing has come back again, unsorted, needing more attention. And it's going to be dramatic. Mars Ketu is not an easy combination. What I would say is don't be afraid to confront things that need to be confronted, but make sure that you talk about them. Mars in Gemini, there needs to be talk. There needs to be some communication happening. That's the key to getting through this tense time. And then we get to the 3rd of April, everybody, and Mars is back in Cancer, but just look at the changed picture. This is really momentous, isn't it? The whole sky has changed. There's a stellium pileup in Pisces, Saturn, Venus, Rahu, Mercury and the Sun. It's a big combustion of all the planets with Surya, and it is trining to this Mangala all alone in the sign of Cancer, now definitely feeling debilitated. Now, this is really about Saturn-Rahu conjuncting. I will talk more about that nearer the time, definitely. Look out for that. But you see, Saturn is just starting in a sign, sandy transit. He is unclear. He is confused. And so is Rahu as he goes backwards into Aquarius, bang in the middle of the transit. Instability, confusion, feeling of mind games going on. Everybody's going to feel like they're being pressured or stuck into a corner wherever Pisces is in your chart. But stay cool. Stay calm is the way to get through this transit, everybody. But there is help. Guess what? Mangala is debilitated now, feeling over emotional. But the moon's going to help. Moon is dispositor. Moon is with Guru at the beginning of the transit. This is good. 11 houses away. What does this mean? This means network circles, friendships, people support each other. There's a feeling of community, togetherness coming from this instability. Be with other people, talk to other people, even your neighbors, because connecting to others, that's the thing. 11 houses away gives feeling of peace to everybody. So connect to other people, definitely, but try not to make those big moves unless you are forced into them. That's okay. New directions are definitely coming. World affairs. We're all concerned about World War III. There's a lot of talk about it on the internet. Some astrologers talking about it too. Mangala aspecting Saturn, it is tense. Rahu aspecting Mangala, it is dangerous. But Mangala is in Cancer. Mangala is the god of war. If a world war is to explode, everybody, to use the word, is to happen. If that is to happen, Mangala, the god of war, must be strong. He is not strong when he's in Cancer. It's important to have context, though, everybody. Please remember, at the beginning of the Second World War, where was Mars? He was in an exalted position in Capricorn, the sign of the graveyard, super strong in September 1939. Equally, where was Mangala at the beginning of the First World War? He was in Leo with Ketu, strongest position ever for Ketu and Mangala to be. Ketu strong in Leo, Mars strong in Leo, total destruction. So you have to see things in this context. But remember what I said. On December the 7th, Mangala goes retrograde. When he goes retrograde, he feels, as long as he's here, that he is in the opposite sign, Capricorn. He will feel super strong, exalted. And that's where it could certainly, though, become dangerous. 22nd of Jan, Mangala is retrograde in Gemini, where he was in September 2024. This is where the conflict Middle East came to a crescendo again, because I said Rahu Ketu, unexpected factors, eclipse. But the next eclipse doesn't happen till March. But for absolute certainty, this Mangala retrograde Gemini is finishing off some unfinished business from September 2024. It's going to be dramatic again. And then, of course, the end of March. Well, at the beginning of March, we have the eclipses. And then following that, we have the stellium building up in Pisces with the malefic Saturn Rahu, the T-square with Mangala. There it is. So this is going to be a crisis point. The only way that we can unpick this is to see some charts. We need to see some mundane astrology charts of countries. But very, very quickly, everybody. The United States of America, Scorpio rising. Yes, this is the correct chart. It's a beautiful chart. It needs a lot of analysis, though. But I'm not doing that now. We shall just say the Lord is Mars in Gemini. This is important. So whenever Mars gets near to this Gemini, and he's just been there now, conflict in the Middle East sprouting up, USA can get involved in conflict. Why? It's very simple, because Mangala is the lord not only of the chart, but of the enemy house Aries. Mars is the lord of the enemies in the United States of America's chart. Of course, the stellium's happening in Pisces in the 5th house of the chart. Don't forget, Rahu is there, Ketu is with Saturn here, Rahu is here. Big axis looking onto this Mars here. And don't forget, Venus is there, foreign shores. There's a lot to unpick. The thing is, USA is involved in some conflict, but has its own internal conflict going on as well. That's the thing. Chart of Ukraine, it's challenging for Ukraine. It's all happening in the 7th house. Other people are in charge, not Ukraine. What are the other people going to do? Are they going to help foreign lands? Mars is coming back from the 8th house to be near to Ketu again. This is challenging for Ukraine in the early part of 2025. Of course, we have Rahu in the 4th house, Ketu with Mangala, this fight, this endless conflict, Mars Ketu happening. It's coming to a crescendo in the spring when the stellium happens in the 4th house of land and home. Will something have to be given up? Will something change? It's a dramatic turning point. Summer of 2025. In the chart of Israel, we have Rahu, of course, in the 6th house, transiting Ketu here. There's the conflict axis. And look where the T-square happens, in the house of the battlefield, the 9th house. We always know we have correct ascendant, you see, when we see this. Rahu, 6th house, does give victory over the enemy. Mars was here when there was an invasion of Lebanon. But now Mars is here. That's much more difficult because Mars is in the sign of Shani. There's some difficulty, restriction, pressure on the actual government itself. And this is very, let's say, pressured situation. But I've just explained on the video so many times, Mars goes retrograde 7th of December and he goes back into the battlefield situation in the Israel chart. Where is the stellium happening here? Can you see? This is the most important thing. Where is that pile-up? Where is that eclipse happening in the spring? It's happening in Pisces, in the house of the enemy. The enemy gets eclipsed. It's perfectly obvious what's going to happen. Will it be peace, though? Will we have peace? That's what we are definitely hoping for. But that March eclipse is the most important turning point. Of course, to know that, there is one chart, in fact, probably the most important chart we have to see. The chart of Iran, everybody, what a strong chart it is. Gemini rising, where Mangala has been during the recent conflict with Israel. But the conflict isn't over because Mangala is coming back. He's retrograde. He's not finished. He's coming back into the first house, ascending sign of Iran. And he's coming back 22nd of Jan, retrograde, twice as strong. This whole axis here, don't forget, Rahu is here, Ketu is here. The whole regime is in a crisis point. Don't forget who is Mars in this chart. Mangala is the lord of the enemy. And you see, he's now in Cancer. Weakened position, just about to be there. But he's going to turn round, station, go retrograde and pounce right back onto the ascendant of Iran. And it's going to be unexpected because Rahu Ketu is there. So finally, we've seen it in every other chart. Where is the stellium happening? Where is that spring pile-up of planets, that big eclipsing factor happening? That wipeout, where is it happening for Iran? In the 10th house of the chart in Pisces, in the house of the government. So this is pretty huge. Let's face it, this is a dramatic turnaround. I know many of you have said, well, will this be the end of the regime? There's a chance for it because, as I've said, this regime can only fall when there is outside intervention. Ketu is the dispositor of this 10th house. He's in the house of foreign land. We've been through all of that. He's in the house of the battlefield. But Ketu Mahadasha currently running, this is what we would expect to be happening. So it's a huge crisis, and there's a real possibility it could be in 2025, but not necessarily. I have to say why. Because Ketu is battle. Ketu Mahadasha battle is going to happen. Rahu, Ketu are strong in the chart. Jupiter is the dispositor of this whole pile-up of planets, and he's exalted. He is strong. But when will he not be strong? When Venus Mahadasha happens. Venus Mahadasha, I've said this for a long time about Iran, begins in 2029. And that is the real danger point for Mithuna ascendant. It's the Venus Mahadasha. This is the danger point. So if not now, it is on the cards, okay? But it's going to happen, however it happens, in a warfare situation. That's what we can see. Foreign powers in some way have to be involved. Let's go through all the signs, but please remember to use these readings. You must have a Vedic horoscope, Vedic moon and ascendant definitely. If you're not sure of those positions, check our website, bottom of my description box, Deva Guru. Put in your birth data and bring up those markers. Don't use a Western tropical chart. Let's go. Aries moon and ascendant, October 21st, Mangala, your lord, don't forget, very important transit for you, moves into the 4th house of your chart. This is about home, your property, home affairs, mother, family affairs, and very much it's about career direction. You put energy into the home now, you can make home improvements, get all those jobs done that have been hanging around. You are full on, but something is bugging you. You feel frustrated trying to make these changes, moving, changing things around. Frustrations come up continually because Mangala is in a debilitated state. You are feeling frustrated and hampered. There can be domestic quarrels. Mother may be having issues. There can even be standoffs in your workplace with your work colleagues because Mangala aspects Saturn in the 11th house of your chart. You begin to doubt direction, feeling something isn't quite right. And then, of course, Mangala turns retrograde. You start to go backwards, literally. But it's a good thing. When Mars turns retrograde, check what I said beginning of the video, 7th of December, you gain enormous power to make big changes. In fact, after 7th of December, you'll be in a manic mode. I mean, you're going to take on so many things. You might even be going round in circles, but You, if you direct yourself, have the power to redo something, rethink something, and get it right this time. In the next phase, 22nd of Jan until the 3rd of April, you see Mangala is retrograde in your 3rd house. This is extremely favorable for you, powerful, but you've got to direct the energy. Don't be all over the place, taking on too much. You can become, as I say, supercharged, manic, doing too much. Take care about that. Mangala aspects K2, you've got to make changes to your health. You've got to change diet. You've got to do the things you've been putting off for so long. Now is the time. You could get interviews now. You can make changes around the workplace. Work colleague situation becomes stress, but now, finally, you can get a good solution to it. Job changes happen. Some of you just leave a job, have an overnight interview situation surprisingly happens. Some of you find that openings come that were shut before. You're going to have to make super fast decisions, that's for certain, during this period. The final phase, Mangala gets back into the sign of Cancer, but this time all the stelliums happening in the 12th house. You could be moving, making big domestic moves, some of you even foreign lands. There's a lot of travel, but there's a lot of secrecy. There's a lot of doubt coming in because your Lord is now definitely in a debilitated state. You become super anxious, super sensitive during this time. Watch out for quarrels in the home, tensions with your partner, spouse, and mother may be having issues again, some of you. It's a good time for spirituality, though, turning within. So many changes happening. You can have sleepless nights during this phase. Don't fear. After 7th of June, Mangala's into Leo sign, giving you super direction, confidence once again. For Taurus moon and Taurus ascendant, when Mangala goes into the 3rd house, normally it's a good transit, very, very powerful. You can get openings, interviews, make big changes, but he's too slow now and he's just about to grind to a halt. So you have powerful communication, powerful spirited enterprise now, but you have to hold fire because Mangala's retrograde phase pushes you into unexpected changes, particularly around financial concerns. In the meantime, catch up during this phase with communication with your siblings, neighbors. You may hear some information, very surprising, even secret information from them, and it's startling, but giving you a whole new future outlook. That's the thing. When Mangala turns retrograde, 7th of December, you start to feel as though you need to go back and change some financial decisions, and they will definitely happen, big financial changes, when he finally gets into Gemini sign. And Mangala is back in Gemini, 22nd of Jan, 3rd of April. Make those financial changes, reinvestments, business people shift things around. Changes have to be made, but don't forget what I said at the beginning of the video. Communicate well. Don't do things on your own. Cooperation, help, financial advice is really helpful to you at this time. If you are a student, you're getting frustrated with the course, Mangala's aspect to your 5th house, making you feel like giving it up. You just can't make sense of it. Once again, patience is needed. 2 things to watch out for: what you say. Your speech could become impulsive and aggressive during this time. You may say something which you wish you'd not said, particularly family affairs sometimes. And definitely watch your food intake. It could become, chaotic during this time. Be careful. Of course, Mangala is aspecting full on, as I've just spoken about, K2 5th house. You can have issues with your kids, children. They can be causing you stress. Once again, watch your speech, stay calm. This is short-term transit. And not just your kids, but if you have romantic affairs now, they're going to come to a crisis point. Once again, you need to speak to each other. Check the beginning of the video. Mangala Gemini means there has to be communication. Don't take anything for granted. But the final phase of this transit is actually quite good for you. A lot of people are struggling now, but you can make the best of it. Why? Because Mars, 3rd house, even though debilitated, he gives you the edge here. Take it calm now. You're not feeling so manic. Pace yourself. Job interviews, financial concerns sorted. Competition, you come out on top. Litigation, legal affairs, you can get good resolution of them now. Students, sort out problems on the course. So things start to calm down slowly. But don't forget that Pisces has a full-on stellium for you, and Pisces is the 11th house of your chart. So you're feeling pressure in the workplace. You had hoped to get promotion, changes, and then things just get pulled out from under your feet maybe. Keep on going. Different opportunities come. As long as Mars is here, opportunities keep on coming. Don't forget that. In the workplace, there's many changes unexpected and it's all getting chaotic. But guess what? You come out on top of it. You gain from the chaos. Stay steady, stay focused. Opportunities abound for you actually during the transit. Gemini, Moon and Ascendant, you're getting really frustrated. Mangala goes into the second house of your chart. Family affairs become stressful. Your kids cause you stress. All stuff like this. Most of all, though, you're feeling stressed financially. You're realizing that some chance, some job opportunity, some investment, business situation is not working out as smoothly. This especially affects business people, by the way, as you had expected it to. There are hurdles and you're going to have to go backwards and do things again in a different way, some of you. Whatever you do, watch your speech during this time. You can have run-ins, anger outbursts, all sorts of difficulties, especially family concerns, business matters. Stay calm. Things are changing, not in the way you expected them to, but you are versatile. Don't forget that. You might become even manic, some of you, full of energy, full of ideas around the 7th of December. From then on, you're full of ideas about how to sort this intractable situation financially, business-wise, family matters, maybe even inheritance involved. Some of you, guess what? You're going to put all of these ideas into action once Mangala gets back into Gemini again. And then when Mars is back in Gemini, 22nd of Jan, right up until 3rd of April, it's a manic phase. You will be spinning all the way through this, particularly Gemini Moon. Watch diet, watch your health, because you become quite stressed actually. Gemini Ascendant, it's slightly easier. But you're full of energy, that's the thing. Trying it this way, that way. Please communicate with others openly. Don't do things secretly. That's not going to help here because, generally speaking, communication is the key to success of this transit, particularly with your spouse, business partner, romantic concerns even, some of you. Don't forget that this Mangala is aspecting K2 and it's an all or nothing situation and it can make you very anxious, some of you. Watch your health as well. You can become accident prone as you're skipping around all over the place, taking on so many projects. You need to focus yourself, not spread yourself too thin. That's the key to absolute success here. You're having a very dynamic influence on other people. Make it positive. That's the thing. It's good that you can do all these things because by the time that Mangala gets back on the 3rd of April into Cancer sign, second house, the whole situation has changed astrologically. Check what I said. Beginning of the video, I showed you those charts. So everything's piling up now in the 10th house of your chart. Work changes have to happen. Even if you don't want to make them, you're going to be forced to go along with them. If you are a business person, if you've got business partnership decisions, this is the phase when you really have to get serious about, is it ever going to be productive for you? Something which you've taken on maybe just not working and the whole decision gets taken out of your hands, some of you. But that's a good thing because Mangala here makes you understand that actually financially it was not viable to begin with. So go along with these big career business changes. A whole new horizon is coming soon. For Cancer Moon and Cancer Ascendant from the Moon, you get really emotional, really touchy. All sorts of emotional confrontations could happen. From Ascendant, though, it's very powerful. You see, This is your Yoga Karaka planet, which is Mangala coming into your sign. This shows a whole new direction coming from the moon too, but especially from Ascendant. But at the beginning of the transit, Mangala is slowing down to a standstill. Check what I said beginning of the video. He comes to a halt and he turns retrograde on December the 7th. So your plans are going to have to take a completely different direction. What plans? Home moves, domestic situation, sometimes even business concerns. You have to do something different to what you've been planning, and you're going to find this difficult to begin with. Mother may be having issues. You're having all sorts of confrontations with your business partner, spouse even. It's all getting too emotional and you are feeling stressed. Hold fire. After December the 7th, you're going to go in a different direction, and in the end, be glad that you did. Don't forget, Mars is your 10th house lord. This will affect career direction as well. So just when you think you've got things sorted, things begin to unravel. Let them unravel. It's going to be good for you long term. During the Gemini transit, 22nd of Jan, 3rd of April, a lot of it retrograde, you reevaluate everything. You get information, secret information. Some of you, now you can make those big work changes, but secretively, not even talking about them to anybody at the moment. Students want a successful phase. You get research done, insight into your studies. You can make a lot of progress. You shut yourself away a little bit, but that's a good thing. It's a good spiritual direction here. Sometimes, though, you can have health issues. Pets can be having issues as well. See to your health. Stress level needs to be contained during this period. And expenses need to be curbed. That's the thing. But actually, by the 3rd of April, you'll be thinking in a completely different way to October. You'll be thinking about things completely differently in regard to career and the whole domestic situation. When Mars goes back into your sign, you know what you want to do now. Goals become clearer. There's a lot of pressure on you because 9th house of your chart, future direction is having an abundance of a stellium, causing some difficulty. Students, the whole course seems to be falling apart. Let it fall apart. The right course for you is coming out of the smoke, as it were. Everybody, if you are concerned with foreign land business, you're going to have to change it all around. Father may be having issues as well, but you remain the strong person. During this time, many other people struggling, Cancer people, are moving confidently towards a new future. For Leo Moon and Leo Ascendant both, it's a really sensitive time for you between October 21st and Jan 21st because Mangala, although a good planet for you, has gone into the 12th house of your chart. Mars in this house gives you difficulty from unknown forces you cannot control. You can have sickness, illness. You can become full of anxiety. Nobody's bugging you, but you believe they are. You can have phobias and all sorts of mental health issues if you are inclined to them. What can you do about it? Get away from the crowd. Have time to yourself. Meditation, relaxation. Leo, it isn't often your thing, but you need it during this period. Expenses are going to go through the roof, and even your pets could be having issues because it aspects Mars, aspects 6th house. Workplace stress, very intense. You begin to be mistrustful of other people. You're just not your normal self during this phase. Hold fire. When Mangala goes retrograde, suddenly you get a whole new direction. When is that going to happen? On December the 7th. And as Mars continues back into your 11th house again, wow, this is a super successful period. Now you are re-evaluating job prospects. Interviews go really well. Unexpected opening comes, new source of income, business people take off in a really big way. You are doing something different to how you plan to do it, but amazingly, it is working out superbly for you. Some of you find a whole new stream of income. Some of you start a new education course. Some of you just do something which you hadn't expected to do, because you are retracing your steps. Basically, though, there can be friendship concerns with your kids. People don't understand why you are doing things in this different way, and you can actually stress other people out because you are so determined to do things differently, do it your way. So, workplace colleagues, there can be a little bit of stress sometimes, some of you. Watch out for the last period, though, when Mangala goes into Cancer again in his debilitated state, 3rd of April to the 6th of June. This is particularly stressful for you. Hopefully, you've made major changes and things are more stable now than they actually were at the middle of October. Because you get a lot of stress this time, particularly stress coming from unexpected business changes, wills, legacies, investments, stock market. They're just not going how you planned, and it causes some anxiety. Don't make big changes around investments. Just take family affairs slowly as well, because this transit puts you into opposition with your siblings and even with your business partner. You're becoming anxious when you just need to let go a little bit. This is a very good time for students, research, good for going abroad, travel, retreat, get away from it all. A few sleepless nights, but keep yourself calm. Very soon after the 6th of June, Mars goes into Leo, and all the moving and shaking comes your way again. Virgo, Moon and Ascendant, stress in the workplace, difficulty, health issues. Now you can take some action and sort them all between October 21st and Jan the 21st. Make the most of this, particularly to begin with, because Mars is debilitated. You're a little bit cautious about making sweeping changes. But the interviews come, doors open, promotion comes, all of it. You've got to grab it while it's there. You can't hesitate anymore. Particularly when Mangala goes retrograde after 7th of December, you begin to think maybe it was all too good to be true. Maybe it's never going to be the way you would like it to be, work-wise, job-wise, money-wise, everything. And you begin to have doubts. But actually, things are going to be even more positive, even more going your way. Perhaps you need to look into different workplace situations than you had before. Key is for this whole period, right up until June, it's a very favorable one for you. Be flexible. Don't just think one direction only. Mars going retrograde, though, into your 10th house. There's a lot of workplace stress, changes with your superiors, boss, all of this. It's all gone crazy in the workplace. There's no doubt about it. If you are a business person, well, it's really gone a bit mad. You feel like there is no control over the market situation. Everything seems unstable. But actually, if you focus, you will find that you can make profit from these unstable times, definitely, because Mars does very well 10th house, even when he's retrograde, because he gets power to make the most of every situation. But because Mangala aspects your house of Moon or Ascendant, you're feeling in a very confrontational mood. There can be definite issues with family members sometimes, domestic issues, all of these, and run-ins in the workplace, especially superiors, business partners, some of you. What should you do? Calm it down, focus on own issues. So it's a big workplace change. Some of you even not happy with domestic situation, but it isn't really the time to make those big changes just yet. The best phase of all, 3rd of April to the 6th of June, you get the job, you get the interview. Maybe it's not exactly what you'd hope to get, but as you settle into it, you begin to think this is the right place for me. I have made the right decision. Work colleagues support you. You're seen as someone who has got the job done under such a lot of stress recently. Everybody else is feeling so stressed because there's a whole pileup in Pisces, 7th house in your chart. Check the beginning of the video. So it's a good phase as far as Mangala is concerned, there's no doubt. But the thing is, there's a big pileup of planets in the 7th house of your chart. Businesses could be undergoing enormous stress. Business partners under stress. Spouse is under stress. And all of this stress comes back onto you. Big relationship decisions have to be made. Keep yourself focused because you do have support now. It isn't about relationship breakdown, by the way. It's about stabilizing because Saturn is going into your 7th house. That's about serious stability. But of course, Rahu is there. We should talk about that in another video. All I would say is the power of Mars is with you. Keep focused on your goals and don't be distracted. For Libra moon and Libra ascendant both, this is quite a stressful time for you as well, but actually you can make career changes which are favorable for you. Trouble is, they will happen suddenly. They will happen in a way that you don't have time to think. Librans like to take their time, balance all the options, right? Well, that's not going to be possible during this long-term Mangala transit. So it starts October 21st, workplace changes happen fast. Stress in the workplace, things have to be changed, but then the whole plan is rearranged again and it really makes you stressed. December the 7th is the key date. So just when you thought you've got things sorted, the whole career situation, work situation's going so well, particularly business people, because Mars is your 7th house lord, business lord, there's a big switch around and it becomes a little bit unnerving after December the 7th. Mars is your partnership lord. Partner may be having health issues, difficulty. They may be having a workplace stress issue, and it's all coming on to you. It's like everybody's problem, especially if you have kids, because Saturn continues in the 5th house. Pressure from your kids. Kids could be having issues. It's all coming onto your shoulder. Stay calm during this time. And Mangala is back in the 9th house of your chart again. You're going to change your whole future direction. Education course changes. If you are involved in any learning at all, whether it's skill learning, academic learning, university learning, any learning, even on the workplace, job learning, it's going to switch around. It's going to go in a completely different way. Go with it. It's going to be good long term. 9th house is a house of people who give you advice. You've got to listen to them this time. Maybe you didn't before. Students, listen to your teachers, lecturers. They can help you. Get medical advice should you need it. Sort out legal issues. Get advice. Good advisors are very direct with you, very to the point, but listen to what they say. And with this advice, after 3rd of April, you make stunning workplace changes, career changes. But here's the thing, there's a whole stellium piling up in Pisces, right in the middle. Saturn's changing sign, Rahu's changing sign. Everything is changing very, very fast in this period. Health issues come to an absolute crescendo now. Workplace stress. Some of you just leave a job now. Some of you decide this is never going to work for me. I can't hack it anymore. That's the best way forward should you need to do so. It hasn't happened overnight though. You've been thinking about this, working on this, and just now you think this is too much. I'm not happy. I'm not healthy. I'm not thriving here. Make changes which you need to make. This is the time to do so. For Scorpio moon, Scorpio ascendant, Mangala is your Lord. He goes into the 9th house of your chart. You're thinking about future goals. You are questioning authority figures, thinking, are they supporting me anymore? Father may be having some issues, problems on the course if you are a student. You're feeling unsettled during this Mangala 9th house transit. You see, Mangala 9th house makes you a bit argumentative. Who with? Well, as I say, father may be having some issues. Authority figures, lecturers, teachers, anybody, people who advise you. You are inclined to argue with them when you should be listening because you can get good advice. You need health advice. Students, you need to listen to what you are supposed to do on the course. Mars here makes you very independent about things. And then you think, oh no, I didn't do it as I should do. But you've got loads of energy for the education course. The only problem is Mars is debilitated. Good news. When Mars goes retrograde on December the 7th, you get a spurt of dynamic, even manic energy. You'll be turning around, doing something completely different and terribly focused after December the 7th. Mars back into the 8th house. You've got to take health intervention now. Some of you even have surgery or serious changes happen. Occasionally that could be because Mars is 6th house lord and you even become a little bit accident prone. But apart from that, you can transform yourself now, change diet, change everything about health situation by tremendous focus. So it can be good for your health, but you need to take intervention where it is needed. The 8th house is a Scorpio house. Don't forget, Mars gets super strength here. If you're a business person, you've got to shift it around now. Investments need to change. Wills, legacies may be coming up for some of you. There can be problems with your spouse about finances occasionally, some of you. An intensely secretive time. You're changing all your goals for your future, planning them, but you're not speaking about it to very many people. This can give relationship stress, some of you, okay? Even workplace stress occasionally. One thing for sure, Mangala here is good for occult study, astrology, research, all of these things. Final phase of Mangala going into Cancer again, this time direct, 3rd of April to the 6th of June. You'll make the changes. You are calmer now, more focused. Mangala is debilitated. You are more prepared to cooperate. You will listen to people now. You will listen to authority figures. You will listen to people who want your good. You're not arguing so much, but you're getting things done. Good for students. Make the change in the course should you need to. Now is the time. You are much more focused now. You know exactly what you need to do. So put in the effort. It will be good education-wise. Foreign travel could be good. Foreign business could be good. But you're going to take it steady, not go over the top. That's why it can be successful. Conflict is fading away. You are feeling more focused on your own issues, and that's good. But the big pileup, of course, stellium's happening in the 5th house of your chart. So as I say, students do make dramatic changes now. Kids are having changes. Kids are having difficulty. Family planning doesn't go according to plan either. Lots of issues around kids, some of you, during this phase. Good news as you get towards the end of this phase, 6th of June, 7th of June arrives, and Mangala, your Lord, is going to go into a most powerful position in your chart, a sign he likes to be in, Leo. So you will get a surge of energy, life direction when this transit is completed. Sagittarius, moon and ascendant. Mangala is going into the 8th house of your chart. He's quite powerful there, but you get a little bit of anxiety from the transit. You're becoming anxious, a little bit phobic. You could be having health issues, stress issues. Calm down. Don't try to do too much. Don't overwhelm yourself during this time. Friends could be having issues. Sibling could be having issues. And it's all coming to you. You need to give yourself a little bit of space during the transit. You're getting financial anxiety. Not a good time to make big changes. Not a good time for speculative gain, stock market, all of that. Though you may be tempted big time, don't go for it now, because Mars is about to station, completely stand still, and then go retrograde on December the 7th. Be cautious about big financial gambles now. They could be not so good at all. What is good for you now? Study. What a time for students doing research. You will get so much done, you won't believe it. And definitely good for occult study, astrology, all of these things. Excellent time. Mongol is your 5th house lord as well, romantic lord, and he's gone into the 7th house. Some of you making serious commitments now, but having second thoughts, not about commitment, but about when to do it. Is there disagreement about the future together? Are you on the same wavelength? Are you having the same ideas about the partnership? Even if it's not about formality, you need to talk to your partner now. You can't put off a serious conversation with your spouse, partner, Sagittarius, moon and ascendant during this time. It will be good to have this in-depth conversation. See, Mars transiting retrograde at an angle like this puts your life in a spin and brings you up against some very disagreeable people sometimes, people who you don't know maybe, but also brings you up against a feeling of restlessness. You just don't feel satisfied in some area of your life. It could be relationships, could be business, could be even education. Some students, what you got to do is carry on with things every day, pacing yourself. It's not the time for big dramatic changes. However, if there is unresolvable relationship stress, then 3rd of April until the 6th of June, there could be changes relationship-wise when Mongol finally comes back into Cancer sign for the rest of the transit. So this is make or break relationship wise, because the 8th house is always about relationship changes. There can be many family stresses during this time, issues around wills, legacies, inheritance. There can be business changes, stock market disruption. Everything's a little bit up in the air and you find it stressful. So it's not the easiest transit, but the good news, you do get insight, secret information that's going to set you on a good new direction after 7th of June, when Mongol goes into the powerful 9th house of your chart. You will be feeling freer, more yourself. So make the most. As I say, once again, it's a good time for students, researchers, occult study again, getting insight which you need. And even investments, you might get some insight now that Mongol is simply going forward that you did not have before. So tie up loose ends very soon. Mongol is going into Leo sign and you'll be in a much more positive mood after the 7th of June 25. Capricorn moon and ascendant, Mongol goes into the 7th house of your chart. All of a sudden, you're getting yourself into unforeseen confrontations. Everybody's becoming really touchy. And even with you, you feel like, what's going on? Everything was smooth before. Now everybody's on edge. That's because Mongol is retrograde, or going to be retrograde soon, slowing down rather, in the 7th house of your chart. This is where relationship situations become tense. This is where unexpected arguments, quarrels definitely happen in the domestic situation as well, because Mars is your 4th house lord. So domestic changes slow down, don't happen according to plan. Business situation, marketplace slows down. Everything becomes quite confusing. But don't fear, very soon Mars will completely reverse himself and go back into your 6th house. Then You sort it all out in a most magnificent way. When Mangala goes retrograde in the 6th house of your chart, 22nd of Jan till the 3rd of April, you get on top of all the problems. You sort out workplace stress. Amazing solutions come to a workplace situation that was not available before during this time. You get job interviews, get on top of all the competition. Maybe job interview which you'd wanted to have didn't turn out, something better comes, something such as that. If there are legal issues, you win, you come out on top, you take a whole new track and it finally works. As I say, competition, you're in the winning position, whether it's interviews or anything. You're getting fantastic solutions to long-term problems, even health issues coming up again. And this time, you finally sort them swiftly, fast. It's a really good time to get things sorted, get things in order in your life. You'll be amazed how much work you get done as well. It's a really satisfying feeling for Capricorn moon and ascendant. Then after the 3rd of April, though, until the end of June, things are switching again because Mangala's debilitated again in the 7th house. Now, difficult financial situations business-wise, but because you've sorted so much, you can cope with these difficult factors, even relationship issues. You feel in a stronger position to deal with them during this period than you did at the end of October. At the same time, you could get yourself into confrontations, or you feel as though other people are getting into confrontations with you. It seems like virtually everybody wants to have a bit of an argument during this time. That's how it will seem to you. You should keep yourself aloof from all of this and not get dragged into it. That's the thing. It's a very difficult time to make any business changes, definitely, because Mangala is in a Maranakarikastana position. So changes business-wise don't always work out so well during this time, at least. Aquarius moon and ascendant, Mars is in the 6th house of your chart. You're in extremely confrontational mood, but guess what? You're in the winning seat if you are dealing with competition, litigation, job interviews, all of it. It's going very well, particularly at the beginning of this transit. Trouble is, because Mars gets slower and slower very, very quickly, you start to have doubts. Is this the right interview? Is this the right job? Is this the correct diet for me? Health change, because it's definitely about health changes, challenges. You begin to have doubts if it's all going to work out at all. That's okay, because Mangala retrograde here, as I've just said, he feels exalted now. Check the beginning of the video. You will get amazing insight into health issues after December the 7th. You will get more insight into legal issues, litigation issues. You will get insights into job possibilities, workplace changes, workplace stress happening, definitely, but you will get information about why it's happening after Mangala goes retrograde. So it's a big turnaround and a powerful transit for you up until Jan the 21st. This retrograde phase, 22nd of Jan to the 3rd of April, going direct, of course, but in Gemini, retrograde then direct is so good for you. Pressure is gone from that Mangala-Saturn aspect to your 1st house. Health gets better. You feel freer. It's a great creative phase. You may be getting pregnant now, having kids. If you are female, that there may be big changes happening. This is a time when family changes, but in a good way. It's a powerful time for students. Mangala in this house of education. You can get on top of so much work and even get information about the course which you did not have before. You may have been not happy with it, but once you knuckle down, do some hard work, this phase is going to be so rewarding for you. Even if you didn't think it was going to work out that way, it can be so. And definitely it's good for creative people, artistic people, even sporty people. You can get inspired during this period. Of course, Mars has gone retrograde in the house of romance, and he rules your third house. Sexual attraction, meeting people. Goes without saying, there can be sudden sexual attractions, exciting romantic opportunities. If you are looking for that, definitely there. But as long as Mars is retrograde, you should take it easy and get to know people slowly. That's the thing. And finally, Mangala gets back into the sign of Cancer again. Debilitated, yes, but going direct from the 3rd of April right till the 6th of June. This is so good for you. You're not so aggressive, so on edge, so stressed now. You deal with things slowly, systematically during this time. You can have competitive success in any competitive area. Legal issues, litigation goes your way. You can have job interview success, definitely. You can sort out health issues. You get very proactive with your health, fitness, diet during this time, and it's very successful because you're not stressing about it. You are just doing it slowly without that edge, that fearfulness that was actually there in the autumn period. So workplace stress, which was unsorted from the autumn period, finally gets sorted during this time. Job changes happen, but in a good way, and financial rewards come to you as well. Pisces moon in ascendant. October 21st, of course, Mangala goes into the 5th house of your chart, but he's going very, very slowly, and soon he'll go retrograde. But you're getting creative solutions to problems. It's a great time for students studying, but there could be sudden reversals happening on the course because Mangala goes retrograde. Don't worry, don't overreact or get into all sorts of anxieties should you be a student at this time. It's a good time for dealing with your kids, actually. Kids are having a few troubles, problems, especially when Mars goes retrograde after December the 7th, but you will sort them. You can also expand family during this time because Mars is your 2nd house lord as well, and 9th house lord, female chart. This could be a pregnancy time. This could be a big time dealing with kids or expanding the family. One thing to be very clear about, Mangala is your 2nd house lord of finance, everybody, and he's gone into the house of speculation, but he's standing still and about to go backwards. Don't take speculative gain. Financial risk during this time, it can work out in the opposite way to what you expected. Just take a note of that one. And then Mangala is back into the 4th house, home affairs. Mother may be having stress. You're getting stressed in the home. Domestic quarrels, partnership quarrels. It's a little bit stressful to begin with, but it will settle down. Mangala gets super strength here to finally sort out these domestic hassles. But because Mangala stations and goes direct during this time, don't forget February period, there will be sudden changes. Like you thought things were going to have to work out this way, but they go in a different way. But it's the best way. After February, end of Feb, you get the absolute right solution to these domestic situation, home move, landed interests, definitely. And then the big switch around comes the 3rd of April to the 6th of June. Pisces, get ready for the turnaround. You see, right now, during this time, there's a big pile up in Pisces sign. I've been talking about it during the video. And Mangala is in your 5th house, giving you a feeling of doing something different, doing something creative, taking a bit of a risk. The 5th house is about taking risks, daring to do things. This is a real major turning point many Pisces lives. And because Saturn has come into your sign now, Saturn's in Pisces, you're becoming much more grounded, much more realistic. When I say take a risk, it's not really a big risk, it's a possibility. You are seeing creative possibilities for yourself that you'd never seen before. This is really favorable. Check out all the other major transits happening up on your screen right now. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to sub below. Goodbye for now. God bless everyone.